Hello, beautiful mutants. Hopefully, this isn't upside down. I had a very, yeah, I'm not even going to go there. This episode originally was going to be titled, This episode is brought to you by the letter C and the letter F. And always by the number 23. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I've changed it to answer the question, Claire. And Claire being like the Clairs, the clairaudient, the clairvoyant, etc., etc. So Clair. But that saying has been used in at least two movies, and I thought I heard it in a third movie, but I can't pin it. So if anybody's coming here thinking that it's going to be a video or talking about that, well, the two movies that I know that it's in is in the Breakfast Club and in the movie Go. So anyways, Claire, yeah, C. Consciousness, C. Colin Wilson, F. This interview with Federico's, not Frederico. Sorry if I put the F R in there earlier, but it's Federico Faggin, Faggin. I'm thinking he's like Italian. He looks like, not that that matters in any way whatsoever, sort of thing. But yeah, he very fascinating. That's all I can say is, like he talks about consciousness as being one, and that it's that we're all part of the one, and that it wants to know itself. But here's where some people might find it controversial, as he's saying that consciousness has free will. So make of it as you will, sort of thing, as you. But what's but the C that I want to talk about, in addition to Claire, the Claire for me is the Claire. Like, to me, I think if there's any way that I'm gonna start having these extraordinary experiences, or these like I'm just gonna go back to the Federico guy. He's a physicist. I said he was the inventor of the microprocessor for Intel. He was the CEO of two companies, and I'm just gonna give a brief overview of what he said at the beginning. Was that he had, he was also a physicist, and that he had all this, this like he had a perfect life, right? Like, everything was going well. Like, had, like probably like everything, like everything that he could want, sort of thing. But yet, and how often do you hear this? And this is amazing. And that's why I like hearing about this guy, is that he was miserable. He didn't know why he was, but he just was. He just felt that there was something more, sort of thing. And I guess this kept on bothering him until, and this is how he explains it, until one night it just came to him. And then after it came to him, I think the way he described it was like he left his body, like his essence was outside his body, and he could see himself. Sounds like an out of body experience to me, sort of thing. But he didn't believe in this. He didn't really know. But he probably, he didn't. And again, this guy could be, just out there. And that's why I don't like talking about people, because you just don't know, right? But anyways, the story is fascinating, right? And then just how we, and he even talks about the Monroe Institute, of course, sort of thing. And that's sort of like, so like cool, but then, and then down on the side part, he's anyways, but yeah, just the idea, because he sounds legitimate. When I'm watching him, as opposed to the guy a couple ones before, yes, this is on Third Eye Drops, the new channel I've discovered with Michael Phillips, who's very big into Plato and Plato's Cave. See, I'm throwing names out left, right, and center. Anyway, so going back though, because I'm going to go through the name that's actually of most importance to me right now. In fact, I'm reading The Mind Parasites by him, and I've got two books coming. Brandy of the Damned, Colin Wilson on music, and C.G. Young, Lord of the Underworld. Sort of like a biography by Colin Wilson, right? Super Stoked, supposed to be getting here next week sometime. So I know I think I read The Mind Parasites a couple years ago, and I think I wrote down some notes like towards the end of the book, sort of thing, or maybe the beginning. I don't know. So, but essentially, what the Mind Parasites is about is, or sometimes it's referred to as vampires, is that essentially, and for whatever reason we don't know, man shouldn't think. Like, man should be a robot, man should be mechanical, man should just do what they're told and, live their mundane life and then, retire and die. But, and I think, I'm not sure I'm sorry, I'll get there. I guess what he was referring to, in the book, and of course probably because it's also to do with the outsiders and a lot to do with of how some intellects or artists are not recognized. Something about there's this shift that changed like towards the late 1700s or 1800s is that in order to be successful, in order to you had to be writing about depressing, not really depressing stuff, but it's hard to explain. But I think I get this sometimes. I'm quite sure a lot of you get this as well. That that every time, okay, the mind parasite. When man starts to be creative, man starts to think positive, man starts to believe that there's hope for humanity. And then he writes about it, or he may not write about it. But he sees what's out there. He sees what society is like, and loses hope, or doesn't feel. So, anyways, so what is the Mind Parasites? Remember, the book was written in 1964, so just after World War II. Like, so, his belief was that things were getting better in a way, but that there was something that is preventing us from going any further, and because and this is the kicker. This is the awesome part of it, is because some men of intellect, they just strive. I don't know what it is. They strive for more. They believe that there must be something more to this sort of thing, and that's sort of like what I've always thought, sort of thing. And I think when because I read the book back in the 80s as well, and I think when I read the book, it probably scared the hell out of me. The fact that if I kept on exploring my mind, if I kept on delving deeper and researching, that not only would people look down upon me and think I was crazy, I would probably go insane. So having said that, I moved to Vancouver still for the 90s and moved. So why did I move back to Kamloops? Why did I back to Kamloops? Sure, I was quite lonely. I know that. Like, even though like Vancouver at the time had a couple million people, sort of thing, and I lived right in the heart of downtown. Never talked to anybody really. Co-workers, had lots of fun at work, sort of thing. But then when I went home, right, by myself a lot. But not sure where I'm going with this. I told you I figured it was going to be a little bit of rambling. But okay, and I'm going to end this on a positive note because that's what these videos are about, is positivity. Okay, and so so the idea is that, and this is all coming from like an excerpt of the book from somebody else talking for about pages from about 60 to 68. I could go back there and read that specific section again, sort of thing. But anyways, sorry, it's getting a little bit chillier. I took my hoodie off. I was going to go further, but I wanted to make a nice video. So okay, yeah. So mind parasites. The idea behind it is that, and this is fascinating as well, because I think the reason why they said like the 1700s, 1800s, is that when the mind or the consciousness, what's the difference? I don't know. But it's like your mind, like mind is that when you're conscious? Like I was when I was walking along here, I was thinking like, the consciousness when you're awake, sort of thing. That is, the ego, the but then when you're sleeping, there's these, you can access the subconscious, and then there's the superconscious, right? Well, just sidebar there. So anyway, so yeah, so when we go into the inner mind and we start actually, and that's the thing, is the first time, more than that. I mean, I've had extraordinary, like, this guy, referred to it as being extraordinary experience, and he said he's had about 200, including out of body experiences and stuff like that, where, like, he was outside his body and he was everywhere in the trees, or he said that he was a single point on his sternum, sort of thing. So again, he says it's all experience, which it's true, because I mean, it's very hard to explain an experience, and sort of like what I've been having like recently. I mean, I've like had them probably a couple of dozen times over the last couple of years. Is the the vibration? I don't know. Like, again, it's a feeling that I've never had before, and it just happens, and I don't know how it happens. I can sort of like induce it by listening to certain music and certain, and so it's a feeling. It's getting to a certain point, and then something starts happening, right? And then so I don't know, but again, whoa, drift. Okay, coming back to it. Okay, so the happy part of it is that, because the idea is that once they don't want too many, because as a collective, right? I mean, just think about what could be done as a collective. I mean, and it would be done so quickly. It would be like almost instantaneous, and in some ways, it could be instantaneous. I mean, just imagine like waking up tomorrow and